Good morning, guys. So today we have received a question from Sanjay, and he says that he has given me a Excel file, and what he says is that he's trying to use this VLOOKUP, but he's not able to apply the formula over there, right? And I have actually uploaded this file. That's the email. Please find the attached sheet with lookup values in text in the format, and how I would be using only headers names are different, right? So what exactly he wanted to say is, let me just, I uploaded this file on my desktop, and this is VLOOKUP error file. So I'll just actually show you what exactly it is. And for all those who know Excel very well, and of course for people who are thinking of learning Excel, today actually I'm going to tell you another a limitation in VLOOKUP which might surprise you. Yeah, that is actually going to surprise you. VLOOKUP cannot be used in a lookup parameter if it is if its length is more than 255 characters, right? What I mean is that now he has given me this sheet, right? You can see here that it's a huge text, right? So what we are actually trying to achieve here is he wants that with the help of this primary sheet, this the column, the values in the column B should be returned in this VLOOKUP sheet. Now if you are aware of the VLOOKUP sheet formula, then obviously you would go ahead and you will choose this as a lookup value, and then you go to this primary sheet and you will select your table, right, like this, and you will give the second column number and you will press enter. But to your surprise, this is coming as a value which is an error, right? So does that mean that this is not available in the primary sheet? I guess it is available because I have checked. For example, if I do this, this equals to this cell, let's say, you see it is giving me actually true, right? So the problem is actually not with this lookup value. It is there, right? And you can't even apply, I think, any other formula, because you can apply many other formulas as well, but I guess as long as this limitation of the characters is concerned, I don't think so any other formula would work. What I mean is that if you're going to use this length, you see that this actually lookup value has 271 characters, right? If I'm going to actually, and let us do this the same here, though we have checked the value is there because it is coming as true, so we have both the the values available in both the sheets. Now let's do one thing. Let us delete these text. Okay, now it is what? It is 232, right? So similarly, I'll come here and I'll delete this, right? It is again here 231, right? Now you see that the error is now showing NA. What does that mean? Let us again look. First of all, we want to ensure that whether we have these two values equal. This equals to this, if we have got that or not. So saying false, right? So it is going to give me the false. So I'm quickly going to copy this and I'm going to paste this here, right? Now you see that the moment I copy and paste this here, I'm getting here data not available, which is this thing. If I write my name here, I'll see the name here, right? So VLOOKUP is working. Why it is working? Because the number of characters in my lookup value is 232. Now let's do one thing. Let us increase this by maybe, let's say, I'm writing something. Let's write this HHH. Now it's 246. I'm again going to write this. Let's say this. It is 266. So let us reduce this little. 261. And I'll further reduce it. It's going to be 254 and just one more, 255. Now exactly I'm copying this and I'm going to the primary sheet and pasting here. Now let us see if the VLOOKUP is going to work on my sheet or not. You can see here that it is still picking up the value. That's amazing, right? The moment I write one more character here, J, and I copy the same now cell and I go to again the same, this my primary sheet, and paste it here. Right now, ideally, if I check that if this cell A2 is equals to my this cell, it will show true, right? So it means both the values are equal. So ideally VLOOKUP should have worked here, but to our surprise it is not, because the length is now exceeded than 255, right? So remember guys, this is another limitation. The other limitations are like VLOOKUP never works in the reverse direction, it can never work from the left to right, and then the other things, there are many other things as well. That's not exactly the motive of this video, but just wanted to tell you that. So this guy Sanjay has this huge problem, and I am actually, this is a very good, actually, I would say a very good troubleshoot for us, because such exercises can actually make you very awesome. They actually check your level of the confidence and the level of knowledge which you have in Excel or VBA, right? So if I'm going to just remove this J from here, and similarly I'm going to remove this J from here, now we should get our values back, right? So let us come back to the sheet, and you see that the moment the length of this lookup value is 255, I am actually getting my VLOOKUP, right? So that was just, I wanted to tell you actually that what exactly we are going to do today, and this is going to be really very awesome. So let me just reopen this file again. So what I thought of is that with the help of the VBA, why don't we go ahead and convert this string to a length which a VLOOKUP can pick it up, right? What I mean is that a length, like maybe we can give this a unique number, a unique text, right? 1 2 3 4 5 and so on, and then we can use the VLOOKUP, right? So my plan is to make a function. Now this is not going to be Excel function, remember, right? And whatever I'm going to now do today, right, it's first thing, if you're not somebody who knows VBA, then I would say that please stick to this video, because watch this video throughout and it will give you a very good amount of understanding that how powerful a VBA can be. Through VBA you can do anything on Excel, and for those who know the basics and who are learning VBA, this is really going to be very exciting for them. This is going to give you a lot of insight on the arrays and of course on the functions, right? So I'm going to create a function, and let me give you an idea. So what I will do is I'll create a function of my name. Maybe let's create this by the name of the Sanjay. Now what will happen is, as you know, a function always requires parameters. So we'll do this thing. We'll select this A2, and the moment I enter my VBA, this Sanjay function will return me some number or maybe some text, right? So maybe let's say 100, I say. And similarly for this we'll assign a different value, maybe 101, 102, 103 and so on, right? And then once we have these numbers, we'll use these lookups. We'll use these values in our VLOOKUP table, and then you can actually make this task very easy, right? So let us quickly start, and let us see how we are actually going to build this. So before that, I want to do a one step. I want to make a pivot of these all lookup values, because they might come again and again in this table. So I just want to create a sheet, and in this sheet over here in the very first cell, I'm going to create a pivot. So I'll go to the insert pivot table, or you can use the shortcut key Alt DP, and then go to the table range. So that's my table range. Okay, and I'm going to select this entire table. Now remember, I'm selecting only this till 21 row, because I don't have any data below this. If you have, then you have to select that, right? Ensure that. And if you want to keep a buffer, you can even you can keep it this 200, right? So that till 200, whatever values next time you will have in the future, then that will be covered in the pivot. So I'm going to drag this. Now we have all these values here, all the unique. Now pivot, that's the beauty of the pivot. Pivot summarizes all the fields, so there will be no repetition. And let me go ahead and just change this to 19. Let's make it little small in this size. Alright, so I have got all the headers here, right? And these are the headers which will be available here, obviously, and I would not like to use any header from this VLOOKUP sheet, because obviously if it is not available in primary sheet, then VLOOKUP should give me NA, right? Not found. So that's why I use this pivot on the primary sheet, because that's where my data is coming from. Now I'll quickly go here and I'll generate some numbers. Okay, I think this is very easy, you can do it, right? So next time if your data comes, let's say after this 20th row, if you have some more data, then you just need to drag this like this, right? But for now I don't have this data, so I'm just keeping it to these numbers only, and let us just align them in the center, right? So these are going to be my now the numbers through VBA equivalent to these text, which is such a huge text. It has a length characters more than 255. So instead of this, we'll use this 100, 101 and corresponds elements, right? So let's see how we're gonna do that. We'll take the help of the array. So I'll go to the developer tab and I'll go to the view code, and then over here I'm going to insert module, and this is how my window will look. Let me just resize it. That's the VBA window, guys, where you write your all the functions, and this is what actually I train in my trainings. So now let us quickly write this. So I'm going to write here a function. This is how I write the function, and let's say write the name of the Sanjay. Now this I will pass in a parameter called a. It could be any variable a, b, c, d, i, j, k, as long as there is no keyword of the VBA which you are using, so that's fine. Obviously this we'll give this as a data type as a string, because I have a string, I have a text here, the combination of text and numbers, and the result would also be the result is going to be integer, right? So we'll say that integer. Okay, so as you see, AND function is already inserted by the VBA. So now what exactly we are going to do is, when I write this function on the Excel Sanjay, and then this a will do what? Let me quickly show you. You see that now the Sanjay function has started appearing on this Excel sheet, right? So the moment I write this Sanjay, this bracket, in this bracket this parameter will go d2, right? And this is what my a parameter will absorb, the value of this d2. And when I close this and I will press enter, this d2 is now showing you 0, not error, because we have already created this function. So this d2 will be used in this a parameter, right? So let us quickly now build this. So what I want to do is, let me just resize this again so that you can see the Excel worksheet. So here we'll use the concept of the arrays, and so we'll start with this array. I name it my array as my arr as string, so because this is going to be a string for me. So when we use the arrays, when we actually use a lot of variables. Now I have here almost like 19-20 variables, right? These all values 100, 100, 200, 300, 4. So instead of writing all these numbers one by one through variables, I can actually store them in the arrays, right? So this time this is open, this has no limit. So now first of all what we will do is we'll define a variable called last row as integer. And now I'll do that. My last row would be equals to, it's going to be my sheet 1, and then I'll start from range d, let's say 1000, and then I'll write here, I'll just show you how it comes. First of all, let me just remove this, and now if you press dot operator, you'll see this and Excel up, and then I want the row number, right? And since I'm going to be very specific where I'm going to work, so that's why I write my sheet name. This is how you write the sheet name. So in my sheet 1, this function will do what? This is exactly going, first it will go to this D1000, which is somewhere here. I'll show you D1000 like this, and then it'll go to, using this control up arrow, it'll go to the last filled cell again. So wherever I get this last filled cell, till that time I would like to store all those values starting from the starting from the second row. So from the starting row till this grand total, I will want all these variables to be stored in my array, right? This is how I do. And I know that blank and grand total and row label, this is my header. I do not need that, so I'm going to subtract this -3 from it, right? So now let us see if I'm going to run this, see what will happen. Now this is a function, so it is not going to work right now because functions generally doesn't work like this. In order to work on the function, you first have to be on your this screen, right? For example, let me put this break code here and let's run this. Oh, oops, I beg your pardon. This has to be removed. Right, and now let's say if I'm going to write here Sanjay, which is my function, and I'm going to select this cell and press enter. See this is exactly going to activate this function Sanjay. Now in this A, you see that I have this A2. Whatever the value I have in this A2, it is actually appeared there, right? So it is a long text, so that's why you're not able to see, but you can see in the last, it says PLE and then ... So which means that this text is there, right? You can even add this to your watch and you can see that it will have all, this entire content, as you can see here, right? So now this parameter is, now we are actually going to test this, right? You can further increase the width of this, but anyways, that's not the motive. That's fine. I mean, I just wanted to show you that you will get the value here, right? So let me just delete this. We don't require this, so let me just delete this. Now the moment you run this last row, it shows 0, but the moment I click F8 again, see that it is now giving you 19. Now how this number, we arrived at this number because we have said that in sheet 1, the last cell you need to go and then subtract. So let me just reset this, and now I'll go to this sheet, and so here in this sheet 1, I see that I have here the 19 was coming because the last row is 22 and I'm then subtracting 3 from it, right? So I'm getting here this 19, which means that this I'm going to preserve, I'm going to use these all variables, the 19 variables in my array, right? And in future, if this expands, then you have to refresh the pivot and then this 19 will change. So we have made it dynamic. Now after this, what I will do is I'll redeem my array, because now I know that how many parameters, how many elements I need to use in my array. So I'll use this last row. This is how you read give the dimensions. When you give this redeem, that means your dimensions are redefined. So this is how you write this function, right? Now if I run this, then this my array will have all these 19 elements, and I can show you. So for the moment, let's do one thing. Instead of this function, let us quickly remove this and let's give this some subroutine name, right? So you see that now it has changed to end sub. So what is the difference between a function and a subroutine, or what is the difference between function and a macro? A function never actually works on F8. A function always works on the Excel sheet, but a macro is a set of instructions which can be executed using F8, right? So that's the basic difference. The second difference is function returns a value, whereas subroutines, the macros doesn't return any value, but they actually work on the instructions and then give you the results, right? Now if I'm going to now press F8, see what will happen. I can now actually get this yellow, this yellow arrow. So that means my function, this subroutine is now going to work. Now you see here that the moment I run this and I'm going to add this watch, this will have my all the elements. You see that? I can scroll this, I can show you. So we have created a 19 space for 19 elements. Right now they are all showing empty because of the fact that we haven't assigned any value here, but we are getting their array 1, array 2, array 3, right? Because this last row is now passed on to this parameter, and this keep on changing as the pivot keeps on taking the new values. If your data expands, then last row will change and automatically your array will absorb these number of will absorb this number and automatically will create this kind of a space for you, right? So now what we want to do is, after doing this, we want to quickly start this for I equals to, let's say 1 2 I want to start this loop, right? Next, this is how you run the loop, and then what you want to do is you want to create your this array. So I would want that my index of this array should be equals to cells, and what is the row number? So the first row number would be 2. So let's just give this a name called row index, and the column is going to be 4 because I'm on the D column. As you can see in the spreadsheet, it is on the D column. Right now it may be a little difficult for you, but as we go ahead, it will be very easy for you to understand what I'm doing here, right? So let us quickly create these variables as well. So I'm going to say this is long, and similarly row index, I'm going to create this as long, right? And so we'll give this row index a number called 2 because we want to start from the second row, because first row has my header which is row label. I don't need that, right? And afterwards, after getting these values, what I will do is I will increment this by 1. I'll let you know why I'm doing this. I'm going to increment this 1, and similarly your index should also be incremented by 1, right? And I think that's perfect now. And you also need to declare I as integer, right? Because I we are using here in this loop, right? So we have index, we have row index, we have I. Now let us see what exactly we'll get from this. So let me press this F8. Right now you see that this is empty. Last row, it is going to give me 19. As you can see here, the moment I do this redeem, you see that this plus sign has popped up, right? So now, because this has now capacity of absorbing 19 elements, so if I click here, you see that these 19 elements are created for me, right? So now the time has come when we actually are going to assign these arrays a value, and the value which my pivot has, all these values, D2, D3, and the text value. So now here this will run till from 1 till 19. So 19 times this row will run, and now here, as you can see here, this index is 0 because we started it from the 0. We haven't given any value in the above, as you can see, and this row index will have now 2 value because here we have given this 2. So definitely on the second row in the fourth column, whatever the value I have, it is going to be given to this my array, which is this 0. So you see that here I have got the value here, the very first one value, and then now I'm going to increment the row by 1 so that I should be on the next cell, and similarly index equals to index 1 will make it this 1, and eventually this second array will be filled. So I keep on pressing this, and you can see the watch above there, it is taking all the values one by one. So I can scroll this further, and you can see that all the values will come, right? So that's how through arrays I'm looping this and I'm using these values. Otherwise I would have to create 19 variables separately, but that's the benefit of the array. Now once it has done, it has come out of this. So 19 is empty because it didn't get anything, so maybe you can subtract -4 from it, but anyways it doesn't really matter. That's fine, we'll leave it as it is. So now we have got all the arrays, we have got all the values, and these are the values which are in the pivot. And obviously that pivot is we are using the pivot directly from the raw data, right? Pivot is summarizing the raw data, so it means whatever the value you have in your raw data, now they are all stored in your this my array, this array with the of course the ranking 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 and so on. Now what we want to do is, now we will create a function and we will say that, remember I created that function called this function Sanjay, and here I pass this parameter a as string, as integer, right? So now in this a will be compared with all these arrays one by one. So wherever it is going to find the value that this a is equals to any of these arrays 1 2 3 4 19, this loop will run 19 times, and during those 19 run loops, it will see that where we have this a. If it is going to find the a, then what we want is that immediately next to the cell on this column C, whatever the value it has, it should give us, right? So you just need not to do anything, simply now copy this code okay, copy this or maybe cut this and paste here, right? And now what we want to do is we want to say, see this now, this is very important. If over here when it is actually assigning the values, we will see that if a equals to my array of index, whatever the value it will pick from the upper line, then what should happen, then my function Sanjay, this is how you write, should be equals to what? Should be equals to of the very same row where it is, which is this row number, but the column has to be now 3 dot value, right? I'll just show you what I exactly mean. Else it should go to the next line, else it should not do anything, right? So the moment it works, if it comes on this condition, then it should immediately exit my function. So this is how you write the exit function, because if I get this value, then that means I'm not interested in now further, you know, running the loop, because I got my value. Now let's understand this. So to make this understandable, first of all I have to, so let us quickly remove all this code and let's keep this here. And so I think indenting is fine. Maybe you can, this is a separate thing, so I'll just give this, and again this is again going to be a same. So let's create some more space here, and this is how your function will run, and this is how so let's just give this little more indenting like this, right? And over here like this. I think now that makes sense, right? Now I'm going to do what? This, remember this a parameter I told you. So when you write now this function over here, this Sanjay A2, this A2, and press enter. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to first stop this, and now let's see what we have. So now I'm going to select this Sanjay, and then you know A2, I have selected this A2. Now press enter. Now in this A2 will be passed on to this a parameter, so this a will have this value. And now let us run this. And before I go further, I want to tell you one thing, that you should be very specific in giving the sheet 1 name as well, right? Because then it will create a problem. VBA will not recognize that this cell value belongs to which sheet. So I'm just going to write here sheet 1, and similarly I'm going to write here sheets 1, because you know right now you're writing a formula on VLOOKUP sheet. So Excel, your VBA will assume that whatever the row number you are telling, you know, Excel VBA, it is on the same sheet. But however, we want to correlate these, you know, codes with the different sheet where we have created a pivot, you know, which is on the sheet 1. So that's why it is very important that we should write these you know, sheet 1 codes. Alright, so now let me quickly again reset this, and just again let us try to run this. And now I'm going to run this. Now let's see, last row will have 19, which is correct, because on sheet 1 I have this last row is 19. Now let me again insert a watch so that we can see that what my array holds. So right now array is blank, but as you can see it has all the elements, 19 elements, right? So now this loop will run how many times? This is going to run 19 times. So I'll quickly come here, and now this 0 will give me the value of this row index number, which is 2, and eventually I'll see all these values one by one. Now at the same time, after I assign this value to this array, I want to check whether my this a is equals to this or not, right? So you can see here that right now my array, this 0, the index is 0, remember, right? Because we have started it. This is the first loop, so index is going to be 0. So this array has this value, and this a has this value, right, which is belongs to this sheet, we look up sheet A2. So if this is equals to this, then it will go to the Sanjay, but it is not, so it will go to the else and then end if, and then it will go to increment the row index by 1, so that it should go to the next cell and then index 1, and similarly now it will do all the comparison. So you can see here that all the array is now filling up, and the moment it sees this value equals to this, it will actually give you the value from the third column. So let's see when we actually will get this. Alright, so we got it, right? So now it has run on this loop, and I must tell you now a is equals to my this fourth parameter, which is this, right? So this is where it is actually getting this value, and now this function will return this 104. You can see here 104, and then exit the function, and you can see here that I've got the value here 104. Now you might be wondering how I got the 104, because when I got this value equals to this. Now see this, if I do this comparison, d6 equals to this, it should come out true, right? So what I did is I clearly said here to VBA, the moment you find this a equals to this array, the element of that array on that particular position, in our case it was I think fifth, right? So you need to give me that function. This is how you retrieve the values in the function, right? So the Sanjay function has to be equals to the value of the sheet 1 in the same row but in the column 3. So in the same row, which means on the very same row, which is this row, right? This row, but on the column number 3, whatever I have got, that is actually returned to me as 0, as you know, the number which I have got here, right? So now you can quickly run this. Let me just quickly remove the break code from here. I'm losing my battery as well, but that's fine. I think we are through with this. So now let us drag this, or maybe you can write this function Sanjay, and then select this cell and press enter. You see the numbers will automatically come. This is amazing, right? I don't know, I mean, how you are actually saying this, but you know, it's not that because you know I'm writing this code, but otherwise also this is really amazing exercise, right? This is, I would say, the second you know, the beautiful exercise which I'm going to upload on the YouTube channel out of all those 120 videos so far. The last video which I uploaded, I really liked it, you know, it was on the mod function, right? You can watch that video. I think that video is 113 or 114 in number, but you can go to my playlist and you can go there and see the category mod function, and there I have actually discussed you know, that video. So that again, a question came out from my subscriber, and it was actually a wonderful question. So now guys, what you need to do is either you can write it or maybe you can drag it, whatever way you want. Just do this. Now we have created all the unique numbers, and that's what exactly our motive. So once you have all these numbers created, similarly now go to this sheet, and here also create a column, and here write the function Sanjay. Okay, now this Sanjay, now this we will use this A2 and press enter. So let me just decrease the width, right? So obviously, you know, VLOOKUP works when you have some common thing in both the tables, when you have something common in your table and as well as the main table. So in the main table, again I have applied this function and I have used these parameters. So now we have got these values as unique values, and similarly here also I have created this function, and now in this header, let me name it remarks, or maybe you can cut this and paste here, right? Or here you can say new VLOOKUP. Now here just write the formula. Now this 104 is going to be looked up into this formula, and I'll get this column number 2 and 0, right? So you got the value. Perfect. Amazing, right? So we have not only learned the limitation of VLOOKUP, but we have also challenged this limitation, and you know, we have proved that doesn't really matter. If you have a limitation, I have other ways to do, right? I have other ways to work upon. So I'm not going to stop, right? I know Excel, I know VBA, and I can combine all the things together, and I can make myself, you know, I mean, you know, I can give a unique solution, a solution which can never be worked upon, right? If you don't have the knowledge, extreme knowledge of advanced excellent VBA, right? So thank you so much, Sanjay, for this question. I'm very happy that you know, you have shared this with me. And so guys, if you want to watch you know, videos like same, with the same stuff, the very advanced videos. So do subscribe to my channel, because as I've said that I think this is going to be my 190 or 120 video. So watch any video and you will definitely gain something out of it. So right now signing off, and I'm sure I'll come up with some another fantastic stuff. And till then, stay fit and keep writing me in. Thank you so much. Bye bye.